Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Amadava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Labha Jaya Girivara Nari Jaya Girivara Dari Gopi Janava Labha Jaya Girivara Nari Jaya Girivara Dari Yashoda Nana Jaya Vrajana Jana Jaya Vrajana Jana Yashoda Nana Jaya Vrajana Jana Jaya Vrajana Jana Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So today's our verse is the right. We will first read the verse and then we will discuss about the verse. Right? So I'll bring the verse over here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Tani Sarvani Sanyamya Yukta Asita Matpara Vashehi Yashendriyani Tasya Pragna Pratishtita. So I would like to request everybody to chant Tani Sarvani Sanyamya Yukta Asita Matpara Vashehi Yashendriyani Tasya Pragna Pratishtita. Please, couple of you should chant. All of you can chant together. This is a family gathering, so don't worry anything. If somebody can hear, don't hear, that's fine. As long as you can, all of you can chant. I would like to request all of you to please chant. Tani Sarvani Thank you. I'm feeling like I'm at our center now. You know, I'm our center. When I hear everybody's voice, that is so much pleasing. So thank you. So we will read the synonyms and translation and purport. Tani, those senses, sarvani, all, sanyamya, keeping under control, yukta, engage, asita, should be situated, mat para, in relationship with me, vashe, in full subjugation, he, certainly, yasha, one whose, indriyani, senses, tasya, his, pragna, consciousness, pratisthita, fixed. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. Purport. That the highest purport by Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Rabbi Sharanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. That the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness, is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Amrish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualification, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll bring the Sanskrit, so all of you can chant. Okay, so you guys prefer Sanskrit or you would prefer the English? Okay, let's go back to English then. Thank you. Save mana Krishna padar vindayo vachan sivaikun madhuranu varnani karor harer man nirmarjanadishu shrutim chakara chutasat kathodai Mukundalinga Layadarshane Drasho Tadabru Gatra Darshe Gasangamu Granam Chatatpa Saroja Saurabe Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite Ado Harikshe Tripadhanusarpane Shiro Rashike Shapadabhivandane Kamam Chadashe Natu Kama Kamyaya Yato Tamaslo Gajanashrayarati. So I would like
if you don't hear,
few of you to chant this. Please chant first verse, then maybe this. How about Yogi? You read the one verse, then somebody will read the second verse, and somebody will read the third verse. Go ahead. Or
Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vacham shivai gunta gunano ranane karo hare mandiram rajanadishu shrutim karachyuta satkato daye
Sutim Chakara Chutasat Katodai. Okay, who would volunteer to read the second one? And you can, I mean, few of you can read together, but please read the second verse. See, when we read it, then there is a chance that we will remember it, right? So we have to read it, and by reading one time we don't remember. This is the activities of the pure devotees, and the glorification of the Lord. So we should never miss any opportunity. Please, any one of you, just come on and read this verse. Mukundalinga.
Mukundalingālaya darshane drisho
Please turn your
tadvit
camera. Turn your camera on, and whosoever is reading. So I want to make sure
Hare Krishna
nobody.
Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Mukundalingālaya darshane drisho tadvit sparshengasangamam घृणां च तत्पादसरोजसौरभे श्रीमत्तुलस्यारसनां तदर्पिते.
Very nice. Who was that? Who did that?
Asta Prabhuji.
Asta. Oh, very nice. I don't see you, Asta. Where are you? Maybe I know. Somewhere there, no problem. But very nice. Okay, who is the next one? Few of you can read together. If you can read, please. Pado Hare Kshe. Anyone, please, or maybe few of you.
Can I do again?
And let's see if somebody cannot do, then yes, then you will go again. But I think somebody can. How many people? How many devotees we have? Please try. Come on, anyone should try. Yogi is there to help you. Okay, Yogi, you're gonna help them. Whosoever, you and Asta help them. Whosoever wants to take that lead.
Prabhuji, what is the
Huh? Okay, I can pull out the Sanskrit. It is the 9.4.20. We pull out the Sanskrit, right? That will be easy. Nine point 4.18 to 20. Okay, so now, okay, but then Yogi and Asta can read now because it is in the Sanskrit. Okay, guys, come on.
So,
Who wants to read?
पादौ हरेः क्षेत्रपदानुसर्पणे शिरो हृषिकेशपदाभिवन्दने कामं चिदासीन तु कामकाम्यया यथोत्तमश्लोकजनाश्रया.
Who was that?
Vrinda.
Vrinda. Very nice. So Vrinda, Asta, and Yogi. You guys got the first prize, okay? Very good. So now let's go back to our verse. Okay, very nice. So King Ambrish Maharaj fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head is offered in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara devotee of the Lord. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How one can become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaj Ambrish. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and acharya in the line of the Matpara, remarks, Mat Bhakti Prabhaven Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Svatma Drashti Sulabheti Bhava. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. And also the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than the Vishnu from simply waste their time in a vain search after some phantasmagoria. Srila Prabhupada likes this word so much. He has used that many times. Phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of the real yoga. Okay, now we are going to read the Mangalacharan, all of us together, and very quickly. Okay. Om Ajnana, everybody together, please. Om Ajnana
Gananjana
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः
Shri
Shri
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
मनोभीष्टं
Bhapitam
येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं
Tadati
प्रकाशयति
Vandeham
Shri Guru Shri Yuta
Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri
Srivasatam Saganargunata
Jivam
Sajivam
Sarvaitam Savadutam
Savadutam Sahitam
Chaitanya
Krishna
Deva
Chaitanya Vishnupadam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanta
Krishna Karuna
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna
Krishna
Pristaya
Pristaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti
Vedanta
Vedanta
Swami
Namine
Namaste
Namaste
Saraswati Devi
Gaurali
Gauravani
Pachari
Pracharini
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Shanyavadi
Vaishnavati
Pachate
Tarini
And all the acharyas in the line, then we can offer the Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya
Patanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema
Krishna
Pradayate
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Chaitanya Namne Gaura Krishna Namaha
Panchatattvatmakam Krishna
Bhaktarupam
Bhaktarupam
Sarvabhakam
Bhaktakyam Namah Bhakta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate
Gopisha Gopika
Gopika Kanta
Radha Kanta
Radha Namostate Jayatam Surto
Kangol Mama
Patergati
Mandati Matsarvashra Padam Boja
Jojo Radha Padana
Mohana
Divya Vrindavan Kalpatupata
Numada
Naga Asanastu Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishtali Bhite Sriman Rasara Sarambi Banshi Bhatta Tatastita
Gopinath Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Pranami Hari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda, Shri
Radha
Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaura.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama
Hare
I look like a
Hare
rocky
Rama,
girl.
Hare Rama, Hare Rameva Kevalam. Kalo
Namaste
Naseva
Deva
Naseva
Namaste
Naseva Gatiranyata. So thank you so much for that enthusiastic chanting. So now we're coming back to our today's verse, right? So this verse actually starts from the section from 254 onwards, and I checked it. The last verse were spoken 62 and 63. Somehow this whole section was not spoken. Before that, it was like 246 was the verse spoken last time. So 246, then we went to 262 and 263. So I thought if I cover all of those verses, then it will be too much. Then I thought that, okay, this section starts from 254. When Arjuna is asking the person, the characteristics of a person whose intelligence is steady, who is situated in that transcendence, So Arjuna is asking that question very in the 254. So again, we will read that verse and we'll just see that. What is that question? Is that Arjuna vacha stita pragnasya kabasa samadhistasya keshava stitadi kim prabhaseta kimasita vrajeta kim. So the Arjuna's question is very straightforward. That what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? In other words, what is the main characteristics of a Sthita Prajna, a man with the steady intelligence? What is his main qualification? What is his main characteristics? And then he asks three things. How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Now, as always, it doesn't matter. We are in the Zoom platform, but it will be an interactive discourse. So who would tell me when Arjuna says that how the first question is very clear? So let's talk about that first question. See, throughout Bhagavad-Gita, this is a very kind of, I would say, the Lord Krishna, whenever he asks a question, he'll give the direct answer, boom, and then he will explain it. If you notice that everywhere, he would give the answer in the first, or most likely in the first verse that he would speak, and then he would give the explanation. So he's giving the cardinal symptoms of the Sthita Prajna. What is the most important characteristics? Who would tell me that? So our rule is the same. Each person would get a chance to give the answer one time. And we have how many? 33 devotees, right? 33. Some of them maybe more. 37. Okay, 37. And sometimes we are sitting together with the family. So maybe 40, 50 devotees. So, okay, what is the first? Who would tell me that with the verse? The immediate verse, the verse number 55, Krishna is giving the answer. You guys have the preview to look at the book and look at anything. Just come up with the answer. What is the cardinal symptom, the main characteristics of a person who is Sthita Prajna? Unless some of one you speak, we are not going ahead. So please help me here. What is the main symptom of Hastita Pragna. Okay, I'll help you with the verse.
Not
How-
affected by circumstances, who is steady in distress and happiness.
Okay, so that's very close, but the Krishna describes in a very clear. I mean, what you are saying is a quality of Hastita Pragna, but it is described by that, you know, person who has given all the desires born out of the mental concoction. That's the cardinal. You know, our mind is all the time keeps looking one after the other things. The most characteristic symptom, a person, he has given up the desires that is arising out of the mental concoction. The exact words are like that. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. And you guys can all chant with me. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata tushta tita pragnastadochyate. So the characteristic is that, what is that? Oh Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, you know, which arise from mental concoction. I think this is good for me and I try for me, and sometimes I give up my life, entire life for that. It's all my perception, my thought that makes me think, right? And once I give up that self-realized soul, that Stita Pragna, is satisfied within himself, you know, find satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So this is the central theme for Bhagavad-Gita, for the first 6 chapters. If we see that how many times Krishna puts stress on this topic, give up the desires, you know, actually whole chapter 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, everything is around this concept. Everywhere, if most verses, at least every 2nd or 3rd verses, this concept is being repeated. And when I say every 2nd and 3rd, if we look at minutely, this is what Krishna is telling. This is so much essential. This is so important to any line of, you know, spiritual practice, in any line, the karma mark, gyan mark, and for bhakti mark also, you know, for the very, and that's what we are coming. But this is the most important characteristics of a person who is Stita Pragna. So that's where Krishna is answering Arjuna's first question. Now Arjuna had 3 other questions, right? What are the 3 other questions Arjuna had? How does he sit? Before that, how does he speak? Now who would tell me, when Arjuna is asking how does he speak, means what is his question, right? What is his question? So if anybody wants to try that, I actually have given the answer over there. When Arjuna says, how does the person who is situated in self speak, means how does he reacts to others and to various situations, good and bad, favorable and unfavorable. What is his reaction? That's what Arjuna wants to know, you know. And this question is answered in the verse number 56 and 57, right? So we will just quickly go for that, because we are on 7:34. I mean, Gopal Govind Prabhu has given me the license, but you guys also have the license that you can also turn off. So I will have to be very careful that, right? So that I'm not speaking but I know, I mean, some of you are very kind, so you have kept the camera on. So I have a, what I would say, okay, constant, like, okay, Prabhuji, go ahead. We are here until we are dead. No, so thank you. Thank you so much. So 56 and 57 verses is the Krishna's answer to this question, that how does that person react? He reacts, that person, Dukeshu anudigna mana, Sukeshu vigata spruha, Vitaraga bhaya krodha, Stitadhir muniruchyate. You guys, how should we do that? Maybe you guys should all sing also, because otherwise it will become a monotonous exercise. So when I sing after, all of you sing this verse. At least that is the most important part. Repeating after Krishna's words. So please, all of you chant. Dukeshvanu. Yes. What does it mean? That person, the self-realized soul, the Stita Prajna, he is actually not disturbed in mind. Even amidst the three folds of miseries, or not elated when there is happiness. When things are good, people are very happy, and when things are not going their way, they are miserable. But that is not the case, and that is not the case for a Stita Prajna. He is free from attachment, fear, and anger. Right? So then this is the next verse also. He is also answering the same, the same thing. यह सर्वत्रानभिस्नेह तत्तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभम नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Everybody please. यह Very good. So right, he is not he is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain. Right? Neither praising it nor despising it. When good thing happens, people are happy. It's the same, more or less the same kind of message as the last verse, that this person does not get disturbed by either way. Things happens his way or things happens against his expectation. He is steady. So that answers the question, that how does he speak. Now when we say before that, how does he sit? How does he sit means? What says that asita ka samasita pragnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava kimasita. How does he sit? Asita means sitting. That means how the realized soul is situated, means withdraws from worldliness. Right? He is in this world, he has withdrawn himself and is situated peacefully. This is a very difficult task, right? Among us, so many things going on, whatnot. How does this realized soul is withdrawing himself from worldliness? That means how does he sit? And that is being answered from 57 to 61. So we'll quickly go through those verses. The 57. We already read the 57, actually 58. So like the example is given over here, that he is able to withdraw his senses from sense subject as the tortoise draws its limb within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So I had planned to read all the verses, but I think it will take too much. So we'll go to the now with this one. the question is that how does he actually able to do that? How does he able to withdraw his senses? Then Lord Krishna is saying that, you know, and we will read this verse again, that he says that the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment. The taste for sense object remains. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. So Arjuna's question is that, like when he says that he is situated like the tortoise, meaning Arjuna is saying that whether he is doing by force, then how long he can do that? And Krishna says that you are right. By force, it doesn't go long. It is not effective. You could restrict your senses, but a person doing it by force would not lose the taste for it, right? We fast. If we have to fast, we fast, but then we don't lose the desire to eat. And same thing applies to all the senses. We could restrict. We have exams and we can't watch, movies or matches or whatnot, but then our mind is still there, that oh, I have to see that and whatnot, this and that. So by forceful engagement, senses could be withdrawn for some time, but we don't lose the taste of sense enjoyment. And Krishna is saying that how do we really lose that taste of sense enjoyment? By higher taste. Once we experience the higher taste, like once you're working for a good cause, no matter what happens, you don't care about anything. You are so focused. You want to do that. You actually want to give up everything for that thing. It doesn't matter. Everything has become so secondary, so much less important. So what is that higher taste? Krishna is saying that it's not just by force. So this is a very famous verse. We should all know that. So we'll sing it. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. So this param drashtva, that is what Krishna is telling that. Now, natural question is that how to get the higher taste. So this is Krishna is saying that this higher taste comes not by you should not think it would come by your own strength, by my own knowledge, by my own strength, by my own ability to do the austerities. No way. Krishna is saying that that the senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Now, man who is so powerful, and the scriptures give so many examples, so many examples. I would name, and you guys have to tell me the story in brief. Who knows the story of Saubhari Muni? So here comes again. I would say, who would tell me, like in brief, 1 minute, the story of Saubhari Muni? Okay. You guys are very shy, and Harinavan is not here today. So I'm kind of missing him, right? Otherwise, he would come up with every kind of and you guys are very shy. Not that you don't know, but you don't want to answer that. See, Saubhari Muni was a great ascetic. He is described in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was so powerful that he could meditate under the water, not for few seconds, not for few minutes, not for few weeks, not for few years. He could do that for hundreds of years. Can you imagine how much somebody can stay under the water with the human body? He was able to do that. But once while meditating under the water, he actually saw a couple of fish, male and female fish, having their conjugal pastimes. And he became disturbed. He said, why not me? If this fish can have it, why not me? And guess what? He instantly come out of the water. He's doing this for hundreds and thousands of years. There is a village actually in Vrindavan. When we go from our Krishna Balram Mandir, it's within a 1.5 kilometer walk, you know. And actually that village, Saubhari Muni's ashram is there. It's on the Yamuna. It's right there. And he is just, I mean, a great ascetic. Come on. You know, we can kind of have 1 minute under the water. Wow. Whole world is there, you know. And this person can meditate under the water itself. But then seeing the kind of a conjugal pastime of the fish couple, he came out and he goes to the king of the providence. Guess what? Who was the king at that time? Mandhata. You know, he was the emperor of the universe. And Mandhata was, I mean, he knew who this person is. Saubhari Muni. So Muni humbly asked, not humbly, Muni said that, my dear king, I want to get married. And I heard you have 50 daughters. Why don't you give me one of the daughters? What do you think? Some of us, we have the daughters. If an old man, you know, who has done nothing but austerities in his life and is asking the hand of your daughter, what would you do? And knowing that this is a very powerful man, you can't say no to him also. So he said, humbly said that, my dear sage, my daughters are very well matured. They are princesses. They can select their own husband. Why don't you go and ask them? Whosoever wants to marry you, I have no problem. The sage understood. The king is saying, no, my dear, go look at your face. Who would marry you? You want to marry a princess. And you can, I mean, the king thought, okay. Then the sage actually, you know, he was, because of his yogic power, he instantly became the most handsome young man. And then when he went to the inner, you know, kind of the inside of the, you know, palace of Maharaj Mandhata, guess what? All 50 princesses say that, I'm going to marry this man. And they're asking the other girls, are you not ashamed?
I know.
Man, no, you are.
Tomorrow we're busy.
Okay, he said that, how could you be so much shameless to their sisters? You want to marry or your own brother-in-law? I'm in love with this man. Why would you not have any shame? But then all of them were right, because all of them fell in love with this Muni, and he actually married with 50 women. And he, by his mystic potency, he actually expanded himself and enjoyed with those 50 girls, 50 princesses, and had 100 sons with each of them. But then he realized that one day, my goodness, what did I do? What did I do? And you know, actually looking at his opulence, Mandhata became renunciate. One day Mandhata came to visit him, and he said, wow, if this sage could have such opulence, which I can never have in spite of having the whole universe, what's the purpose of having my universe, my being a king? So Mandhata actually became a mendicant, seeing the opulence of sage Saubhari Muni. And then Saubhari Muni, because he had done such a great austerity and he was a devotee at heart, so eventually he realized, and actually he had made a mistake. He actually offended a devotee, Garuda. Through his yogic power, he actually cursed Garuda, that if you ever come to here and take any fish from this pond, you would suffer death. So, you know, kind of a such curse was given to Garuda, and because of that, the whole pastime happened. But in essence, the Krishna is telling us that by your own strength, don't you ever think that you can control this and you can get out of this lower taste, right? So that's why this verse is there between 59 and 61. There's like a yoga or jnana is not going to help. Krishna is telling that by your own strength of austerities, by your own jnana, by your own kind of Ashtanga yoga practice, nothing. You don't think if you sow Anybody can think like that, but it doesn't work because senses are so strong. And that's where we come to the current verse. Now, this is the verse where Krishna is giving us the key that how should we control the mind? How should we be free of desires to enjoy the senses? Tell me, who doesn't have that problem? Out of, all of us, being us, the mind and the desires to control the senses and being drawn by our mind. So Krishna is, for the first time, he's actually telling, we will talk about this later on, about the third, fourth question of that, what asked. But this is the most important part in this verse. Mat para. Actually, for the first time in Bhagavad-Gita, see, Krishna is telling that, make me the goal of your life. I am the one to be focused. Now, imagine a friend is asking you for a counseling. He has so many troubles, whether he should do this or that. And the other friend says that, forget about everything. Just think about me. So Krishna is telling exactly the same thing. All these wars and all these things will keep going on. The real purpose of your life, you be focused on me. Mat para. That is the kind of most important part over here. So now, how does this work? Let's first analyze this verse, that how this helps actually. And Krishna is saying that, you kind of control your senses and focus onto me. Focus onto me, try to connect me. So some sense control is required initially. Only that much sense control that we can connect to Krishna. That initial part of the sense control, we all have to execute, exert that part. That somehow we have to convince our mind that I need to take my beat back. Let me sit down. We are in the midst of a problem. So many things are going. Everything is going topsy-turvy. At least Srila Prabhupada has said that only that much austerity is recommended, and only that much austerity we can do that. Some of us, we can be very austere, but Srila Prabhupada is saying that the most important austerity in this age we can do is that we sit down and chant. Yukta asita mat para. Somehow we should take, this, take it to Krishna. Krishna, what should I do? I'm really having a troubled time. I'm in a difficult situation. Please help me. Please, that much part, and once we do that, what happens? Once we do that little service to Krishna, that little service, then Krishna actually reciprocates to our service. How does he reciprocate? He actually gives us the taste of his service, right? He actually gives us that taste, and that taste is so sublime. Nothing can come close to it. That slight service, that slight service. How many times I can show you in Bhagavad-Gita, Srila Prabhupada has said that all of us are, we are liberated. Because somehow, I have heard this from many, senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples, that yes, all these devotees, it's a matter of time. Krishna is looking for some pretext. I can sit here and easily, I'm sure you can, all of us, give that. He's looking for some pretext. Like Putana, now she's actually the mother, right? She's actually the Dhatri. We shouldn't say anymore way, kind of in a derogatory way. But she, what resolve she saw in her life? What resolve did she saw in her life? She was there. She already had killed many newborns, and she was there to kill Krishna. For a moment, she thought that how sweet, how beautiful this child is. And that Krishna picked up from the entire, he only picked up that part. We know the story of Mrugari. He was there. He will kill the animals in such a way that the animal will die in pain. Narada Muni, when he walked in, he was very upset on Narad Muni. But looking at his fearlessness and looking at his peaceful and blissful nature, he couldn't say anything to him. He was so upset because Narad Muni came into the forest. All the animals fled away, and Mrugari was so upset. But then, what good qualification he had. Narad Muni firmly said that I have only one request. You can be hunter. You kill your animals, no problem. Don't give them pain. They said, why? He said, you have to suffer for this. Now, don't you know anyone in the world would know that? But the association of a pure devotee, he said, yes, that's true. So, and then he surrendered. What kind of tell me, what did he do in great in this life? He just had that faith in a pure devotee's word, and he surrendered to that. So I'm coming back to not making it so long. Krishna is looking for some reason, some reason that how can I help this devotee? We all have a free will. We all have we are eternal, as Puratan, as old as Krishna himself. So Krishna has given us this free will, and he wouldn't interfere that. But if at least one time we submitted, then Krishna would pick up on that one, that yes, he has submitted. He has made that resolve once. Once he had made that. Now, how many we hear the Srila Prabhupada's pastime, and I'm sure many of you have heard this pastime. One of the Srila Prabhupada disciple, he actually, I was hearing that Srila Prabhupada initiated about 5,000 boys and girls. Half of them, leave the movement. Some of them, they actually went back to their old habits. And one of them actually did so much nonsense and went through all of those things. And then when he was dying, actually no one was around there. Not even his own family members. His death was witnessed by the health professionals. And he was saying that, Prabhupada, you came. So when the daughter actually visited those health professionals, they said that he was saying like this at the last moment. And the daughter was actually, dumbstruck, completely mesmerized. What is this? She said, I can't believe. They were saying that, Prabhupada, you came. So my point is that, even the pure devotees of the Lord, they don't forget. Krishna never forgets our service. Krishna never forgets. He sends his envoy. The Guru comes because they remember our service. What is there actually? How much small effort is over there? After doing all sorts of nonsense. The same stories for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj also. That was here. So we hear that one of his disciple, and he actually did all sorts of nonsense, and he was always but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was always, very much conscious and worried about that devotee. And actually, this particular devotee, he actually not only he left, he would criticize Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj, every day. And when he left the body, everybody was so happy. But then Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj cried from his heart. He said that, he was somehow keeping me on the track. Can you believe that? A fallen disciple of him, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, is taking that kind of he's thinking that, okay, because of his criticism, it made me sure. And of course, for whom someone like whom Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj is crying in that affection, definitely he has achieved that, the higher destination. Coming back to the topic, that Krishna is saying that the remedy to control the mind is to convince yourself to connect to me somehow. That's the remedy. When you actually put your focus into me, when you make me as the ultimate goal of your life, you know, that's where it becomes so easy. That's where it becomes so easy to give up the desires to enjoy the world. You know, that's why it's become very easy to come out of the clutches of the mind. So um it's almost 8 o'clock. I just want to mention that where else in the Bhagavad Gita the mat para word comes, and then we'll end over here. I have some more verses to share, but then we'll leave it open for the discussion for a few minutes. But just tell me where else in the Bhagavad Gita, and I mistakenly signed out of my presentation. So now you guys have to come up with that, because even I have forgotten that. So you guys have to help me. Otherwise, we can move further. Where else in the Bhagavad Gita there's a mat para word come? Okay, I'll give you the hint.
9.34.
Okay, 9.34. Matchita madgat prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. But there is no mat para word here. Matchita madgat prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. I'm looking for a mat para word. You know, so where else mat para word comes in the book? I will give you the hint. Chapter 6 and chapter 12. Okay. Chapter 6.
6.14.
Huh?
6.14.
Very good. Who is that?
Your servant, Ramachandra.
Okay. Can I see the face of my servant? Okay, Prabhu, please. Who is? You have to show me your face. Come on. I'm not able to see.
Camera, Prabhu. I'm on the camera.
Okay. Because I think there are so many, so I can't see that. This is Ramchandra Prabhu, right? 6:40. 6:40. I'm gonna pull out the 6:14. The verse here. Okay.
2.61 Prabhuji.
Okay. 6.14. Here very clear Krishna is saying that. So we're gonna sing that verse. Okay, it's actually 13 and 14 together. Krishna is saying that, actually let's not sing it, but Krishna is saying that yeah, I'm gonna mute everybody again for a second. So here is the mat para word comes. This is the chapter of Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Krishna is saying that the purpose of doing the entire Ashtanga Yoga is actually make me the ultimate goal of life. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart. The whole purpose is that make me the ultimate goal of life. Very nice. So this is where, and there is in the chapter 12 also there is a verse that tells us about the mat para. Chapter 12.
4.6 and 7.
6 and
Yes.
7.
Yes, 5 and 6 or 6 and 7, right? So you're gonna read that verse. That's a very you're right, 6 and 7. And this is actually the summum bonum of the Bhagavad Gita. This verse is actually, according to some acharyas, this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll all sing that verse, and we'll talk maybe a couple of minutes on that one. But here in the first line, it is there. It says that, all right. So okay. Etu sarvani karmani mahi sanyasya matpara ananyene yogena vasate eshamaham
Samudrata Mrityu Sansara Sagara
bhavami na chiratpata Maya Vedita Chetasa. So the meaning of this verse is like that. Krishna is saying that those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Partha, for Partha, O son of Prutha, sorry, son of Partha is Abhimanyu. O son of Prutha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So here, this is actually the heart of, like in the Bhakti Yoga chapter, Krishna is saying that, people who are Mai Sanyasya Matpara Ananya Neva Yogena Mam Dhyayantu Pasate. People who are actually like this, actually they are my worries. They don't have to worry about anything. What is liberation and what's going to happen and how is this going to happen and what? Nothing. Krishna says that I personally go. Tesham aham samuddarta. It's actually becomes my kind of meditation, that how do I go and meet my such devotee. Bhavamina chirat partha. I can't really tolerate any kind of I can't tolerate any kind of weight. Normal process is that when we leave the body, we are being escorted by 14 different deities. 14 different deities. The deities of the day or night, deities of the light or darkness, deities of the moon or sun, deities of the kind of monthly, the 6 monthly, yearly, and so on and so on. All these deities, like when we go to see a big person, we are being escorted. The gradually comes the more and more people, the more intimate, and they really take us to the Lord. Finally, we go. The personal secretary will take to the boss, to the prime minister or president or whosoever. So like that, we are being escorted. But for such devotees, it's that I don't care. I just simply go. I can't wait there. I really I'm so eager to see my devotees. He's actually saying the same thing into the chapter 14 also. I'm sorry, chapter 8, verse number 14. I will bring out that verse, and I think that will be the last verse. I won't keep doing this, I promise you guys. So the chapter 8, verse number 14. Krishna says the same language. He's using the same thing. He says that for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. He says that I actually, Ananya Cheta Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityasha Tasyaham Sulabha Partha. It means it becomes my meditation. I'm so much more anxious to see these people. It's not none of there. They don't have to do Tashyaham Sulabha Partha. When we see the grammatical way, I become easily available to them. So means I'm easily obtainable to them, means I actually go and approach them because they are always connected to me. Tashyaham Sulabha Partha. Not that they achieve me. Actually, I become I'm easy to obtain for them. This is also, so that same mood is expressed here. So yes, when we do with that sincerity, when we think about Krishna with that sincerity, Krishna, is so much more eager to see us. Coming back to our original verse, when we start our journey, Krishna gives us the taste of his service so that we never want to give it up. And then there is a constant, competition going on between the Lord and the Master, between us and Krishna. Who could give more joy to the other party? Then all this world, all of a sudden, it becomes so much less important. And before we know, we are fully Krishnatized. So I would end over here. I hope we have some time for uh, some question answers or some discussions. If it is not, I would like to hear something from you guys, from all of you. You are, I mean, all the devotees. So some kind of comments, some realizations, some reflections. Please share your. I mean, this is sangha. So I mean, that means that's why it has to go both ways. So I tried, but because of the Zoom and all those things, we wouldn't be able to do it so much more. But please, if any one of you would share something, I'll be very happy. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very engaging discussion. I'm sure that many of us are pondering on some questions, and many of the devotees learn to recite some of the verses. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'll just take a minute to explain some of the programs we do at ISKCON of Bergen, and allow me just one or 2 minutes. Okay. Can see my screen? Okay. All right. So like this Sunday program, we do a midweek program as well on Wednesday. So this time on Wednesday, His Grace Ravi Lochan Prabhu is coming. Most of us know him pretty well. He has been delivering a very nice discussion series on Srila Hardas Thakur's teachings and pastimes. That has been going on pretty nicely. It's our fortune to have him, and he does not only give the class but also gives us the practical tips of how to implement in our life. So I would strongly recommend to join, spend some time, and take the advantage of this class. Next Sunday, Her Grace Govindanandani Mataji is coming up, and continue in the series of topic being discussed just now. And for the information, we do the morning chanting program 6 to 8 on the same Zoom every day. There's a Bhakti Bridge program. Just in case anybody is missing any of the, just in case you are not in any of the Bhakti Bridge program, please let me know, or just drop a message. Just visit this website, and on our website you can put up the request you want to join the Bhakti Bridge, so we can engage you with the right program on that. And we do have Bhagavad-Gita reading every day, midday, 12 to 12:15 on the same Zoom, and you can take advantage of that. With that, thank you so much. We also have just a reminder that this coming week on Friday, 28th Jan, there's a Sattila Ekadasi. That is the only Ekadasi when Tila is allowed in the Ekadasi, and it's a fasting from the grains and beans. As usual, most of us knows on Ekadasi, more chanting and more staying closer to the Krishna, and avoid the gossip as much as possible. And on the day 9 p.m., just in case somebody don't know, we do a very nice conversation. Ramchandra Prabhu leads that conversation, Sangha, open-ended conversation, which is about Ekadasi realizations. And many of us get these instructions from the acharyas or our spiritual masters. Ekadasi is a day to reconcile our differences and progress. So, and Ramchandra Prabhu leads that very nicely, and we enjoy that. So take the advantage, join on the same Zoom, 9 p.m., 28 Jan, Friday. Fast breaking time is Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7:09 to 10 a.m. With that, if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand, write on the chat, and we can take those questions in an orderly manner. Thankful of Prabhuji. He explained in many topics, not only just 2.61, but also gave us the little summary overview of the Sthita Pragya start from 2.54 and went through all the way the different stages of how Sthita Pragya works, and then took us in the context of 2.61 for the Matpara. And I'm sure that many of us have many questions. I have 10,000 questions, but let's go for it. Madhava?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So my Hare Krishna. My question. A minute, there's an echo. Okay.
Madhav, you are muted.
So Prabhuji, my question is. Okay, I'll come back.
Okay, so while Madhav is fixing the echoes, give us 1 minute. Anybody else has any questions? Okay, so Madhav is back.
Hare Krishna. Okay, you can hear me, Prabhuji? Okay, so Prabhuji, my question is that, so in the translation, it says one who is fixed in steady intelligence. So can you elaborate more on that? What does it mean to be fixed in steady intelligence? In that way, one can meditate upon. Thank you.
Prabhuji, you're mute.
Yes, thank you, Madhav. Thank you so much. That's kind of a very nice that you are reading it so, very carefully and trying to understand that. So thank you for a nice question. So let's read that verse. That verse is the. It says that. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara. So it is saying that one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So if our mind is not stable, then it wanders all over. Every single thing, whatever happened over the last few days, few hours, the whole day, and what I'm going to do next day and next, it keeps wandering all over. And that's that is the sole reason, our mind. And where does the mind comes from? It comes actually from our false ego, our mithya ahankar. I'm this body, and according to the body, I have corresponding mind. And what is the Arjuna is up at the, like in the middle of 6th chapter, he says that, my dear Lord, it is too difficult to control this mind. And that's the main theme of the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad-Gita. So to keep the mind steady, of steady intelligence, to keep the mind steady, that means the mind has to be engaged in the service of the Lord. I think that's where it is said that Srila Prabhupada is saying that the at the end of this thing, the senses can be, this is the Baldev Vidyabhushan, can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Right? So this is where making the mind steady means making the mind fixed on Krishna, making the mind, taking the mind away from the senses is not possible by any other means. Somehow we have to learn to connect to Krishna. And that's why Krishna is saying that initial sense control, whatever that sense control, that makes us to take the beads in our hand and sit down and chant. There's that much yukta, stani sarvani sanyamya, keeping everything aside and take the beads in your hand. That's what it means, making everything, otherwise it's practically impossible for us to, disconnect from this material connection. I am this body of a man or child or young man, woman, whatnot. I'm this person. It's practically impossible. And actually that's making us, life after life, running behind some illusory dreams, which never is going to happen. I think that the same Lord Krishna is explained in the Bhagavad-Gita, is explaining so nicely. The same concept, same theme is again being discussed, and the central theme is the mind. So if instead of that mind thinking that I'm this and that, the mind thinking day in and day out, that I am the, I'm part and parcel of my Lord. I'm eternal servitor of my Lord. I don't have to think about, a whole lot. All I need to think about this day, today, how much service I did to Krishna, how much I am able to chant sincerely. I really don't have to plan it. It's beyond, anyhow, it doesn't work. Those who have tried, and many of us are in 50s and 60s, we know that it doesn't work. Life, we thought something at the age of 20, and it's something completely it's no. But I really need to, I can, this day, this moment is under my control. Am I trying to serve Krishna? In spite of all my shortcomings, we have to very sincerely, take our case to Krishna. My dear Lord, please help me. And that's the only way and guaranteed way that it would work. And that's how we can make the mind with the steady intelligence. Okay, Madhav, I would like to hear from you. So what do you think?
So by doing devotional service, it'll help us being fixed in intelligence. But our effort in devotional service alone won't cut it. We also need the mercy of the Lord, also His causeless mercy, in order to make it completely, in order to be completely surrendered to the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's true. That and it is always there, right? It is always there. The Lord is looking for some. Actually, He's looking for some excuse. Some of these big exams, if they decide, they can fail every candidate. And actually, so the examiners are looking for an excuse to pass. You'd be surprised that who really comes and speaks something, who really does something. So Krishna is so merciful. He's looking for who comes for an exam, who really wants to has a desire to go for this exam, not even going for exam. So he's looking for even that much, that tiny excuse, and He takes us away. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhav. So we got study intelligence covered. Abhay, do you have other question other than study intelligence?
Yes, Prabhu. I just had an add-on to verse 6.13 and 14, Prabhu.
Yes.
The translation says, thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me. So I understand the other qualifications, but what about like devoid of fear, technically? But when you think of like, let's say, for so many reasons, we would be actually scared or afraid of so many when we're placed in such situations, and we actually want to pray to Krishna, please release me from such circumstances. So how can we get like devoid of fear, right? Like it's saying get rid of fear completely out of the equation. So how do we actually say that? How can we get rid of fear at the same time, but and also be saved from whatever situations we're in? So because due to some circumstance we will have fear. So how can we that not be when we when we are meditating or when we're trying to think of Krishna?
Yes. Thank you, Abhay. Very nice, very wonderful question. You know, the fear, how how should we get, how should we really name up your name, right? Your name is Abhay. So how do we really achieve that Abhay? You know, why? Wow, that's so nice. That's so nice. So, you know, Krishna has given us the remedy. I think actually, how does focusing on Krishna we become free of fear? You know, so this Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha actually comes in the chapter 4, verse number 10 also, and where Srila Prabhupada has explained it so nicely that how do we overcome the fear. See that part of the Bhagavad-Gita, you know, where the preceding verse is that Lord Krishna is saying that Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Vetti Tatvatah Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Neti Mameti So Arjuna. So then he's actually showing us in the next verse that how knowing my Janma and Karma, somebody becomes, you know, somebody does not come back to this world again, right? One who knows the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take birth again in this world, but attains Krishna's eternal abode. So Krishna explains this very nicely in the next verse, where he says that, you know, that Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha, Rag, Bhaya and Krodh, you know, they actually are gone. How they are gone? When somebody knows about me. Now tell me, Janma and Karma, who doesn't know it? Actually, in this very purport, Srila Prabhupada tells that all of us are liberated people. You know, so you don't have to fear actually anything. Forget about fear. Having faith in Krishna's pure devotee's word, we are all liberated. But having now known that, we can discuss about that how does this help? You know, knowing Krishna's birth and activities. What is so special about Krishna's birth and activities? You know, I mean, the most important part, you know, Krishna is actually meditating on his devotees all the time. He has no other business. Practically, he has no other business. He is Atmaram, he is Satya Sankalpa, self-satisfied, but all he does that, you know, he says that to the everywhere in Bhagavatam, everywhere, that, you know, my dear, you know, like at the in the to the Durvasa Muni, that, you know, my dear Brahmanam, I am not at all independent. Aham bhakta paradino. You know, I don't love anybody more than my devotee, not even the goddess of fortune. Nobody, I don't love anybody except my devotees. So knowing that characteristics of Krishna, his janma and activities are solely entire his devotees. He's knowing that who would not fall in love with him, and knowing that characteristics, we become manmaya and mamupashita. The devotees become the mind becomes, their mind is, you know, captivated by Krishna, and they take the shelter of Krishna. Once we take the shelter of Krishna, once we become, our mind becomes completely, engaged in Krishna's service, completely occupied by Krishna. Actually, we lose the fear, because the biggest fear in this world, biggest fear in this world is that we fear about losing our own loved ones. We fear about losing our own self. Everything else comes, our wealth and prestige and our comforts and so many things, that's secondary. But the primary fear is that we are always in that fear. But once we identify that fear, Krishna, once we identify that our connection with Krishna, that fear is not there anymore. Krishna actually, first verse he speaks in the chapter 12, that he's saying that, oh Arjuna, you are acting like a very learned, intelligent, scholarly person, but you don't know what is what. He, the people who are actually learned, they don't really lament about living or dead. And then he, next verse, he says that, 2:12, that we are all eternal beings. You, me, and all these kings, we always existed. So by knowing Krishna, by connecting him with Krishna, devotee loses the fear, right, instantly. That he thinks that what my main purpose here is to be connected to Krishna. Wherever I live, it doesn't matter. Even in this life, I have gone through so many changes. Someday, if we live in now, some of us who can move to Paris or Australia, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. It's the same way. Changing this body doesn't matter anymore, because I'm eternally connected to Krishna. The body keeps changing even now. I can't do anything about that. So yes, knowing Krishna actually relieves all this fear. What knowing about Krishna? He is the Bhakta Vatsala. All his all activities are centered around his devotees. And the second part is that I am part and parcel of him. I'm meant for serving him. What do I really have to fear? So I hope that helps you. Tell me, what do you think? What would you like to say more about that? How do we really, if that helps you practically, or only it goes on a theoretical level? Be honest, no problem. You can share your side, and then I would like to hear from you.
I 100% agree with you, Prabhu. You talked about both on a practical or even theoretical standpoint, but also I just look at it how Prabhupada sacrifices, right? How Prabhupada, when he traveled on the Jaladuta, he had he was given so many obstacles to overcome, and he just didn't have that one. When he talked about when you connect yourself with Krishna, when he knew that actually Krishna was taking care of him throughout the journey, he was devoid of fear, and he knew that his goal was to fulfill the duties of his spiritual master. So because of that, he was devoid of fear, and he was willing to do that service. So yeah, 100% I agree. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very wonderful question. Thank you.
Tanuji Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Prabhuji, thank you. Very nice class. So my question is you mentioned about Saubri Muni, right, from the 9th canto, about having that desire to get married. And then also to daughter of King Mandata. So Mandata was from Ikshvaku dynasty, same as Lord Ram, right? Also, we see Devahuti served her husband Kardam Muni, and Kardam Muni was so happy, and then he asked her what she wants, and then after that we all know Lord Kapil Dev was born. So she served pure devotee of the Lord. So we know, like all of us, we know, like when we serve a pure devotee of a Lord, one always has a pure desire, right? Other than all these material desires. So, other than the reason for the Kapil Muni taking birth, right? Okay. What could be the reason of, of such a switch? Like when you serve a pure devotee, the chances of having such desires is negligible. And also like Sabri Muni, who has the capacity to meditate underwater, can have such a desire. So how can this happen? And also like if devotees at that level can have such a desire, what could be the fate of a person like me, right? In this material world, who what to say? Who, I mean, who's negligible compared to, I mean, born near to zero. Faith of a person like me. I mean, that's the question. I mean, I think you got the question, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Very nice, Roji. Very nice. I'm so happy that you do the such meditation, and you are right. There's so much parallel between these two pastimes. Kardam Muni actually did the worship before entering the Grahasthashram. He actually asked for a suitable wife. He was supposed to create he is one of the Prajapatis. He's supposed to maintain this universal population, So he actually worshipped the Lord, and then when the Lord appeared, he asked for a suitable wife, and that's how the Devahuti was given to. Devahuti was married. Lord said that, Swayambhu, Manu, and Shatarupa, their daughter, would be given to you in marriage, and that's how she was given in marriage to her. So in spite of, like, then she was worshipping that, and because of worshipping the pure devotee of the Lord, she actually had the good fortune of having Kapil Dev as her son. So Krishna is never actually antagonistic of our kind of he's not antagonistic that we don't enjoy in this world. He actually wants us to enjoy eternally. Krishna is not against that. Krishna is not at all against that. So having that, is a kamish, dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. In chapter 7, Krishna is saying that in that verse number 9 or 10, somewhere about that dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Hey, O Bharatarshava, hey Bharata, O Bharata, I am the calm not according to the religious standards, according to the scriptural injunctions. So having said that, Devahuti, Mother Devahuti, serving Kardama Muni as his wife, she developed that desire. I think that is absolutely bona fide, because she was asking from her husband. She is a woman, she wants a child, she wants children, and that's very valid, right? You enter into the Grahasthashram. Before entering the Grahasthashram, if you tell your wife, and then she has a choice to enter into the Grahasthashram or not. But if not, this is what it means for Grahasthashram, that you're going to have the family life and you're going to have the children. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said that I would have hundreds of children provided I can make them Krishna conscious. So Krishna and Kardama Muni is actually, it wasn't kind of a fault, because he actually gave it up very nicely. He actually showed that what could be both of this. Actually, they show that the opulence of the people who are devoted to the Lord. He had actually aerial mansion. Can you imagine we can have such a movie, an aerial mansion, where everything is in that aerial mansion. It's a big city in that aerial mansion. So he actually created by that his yogic power, by the dint of his his yogic power. So I think that it is not at all kind of I wouldn't say Mother Devhuti's desire was in any way not at rightly placed. And because of her serving Kardam Muni, she had a Kapil Dev and Lord Kapil Dev, and Lord Kapil Dev actually gave her the knowledge about Sankhya Yoga and then devotional service, and she became perfectly, realized, like I'm not, I mean, the perfectly liberated, became engaged in service of the Lord in devotional service. Now your question is very relevant, like how do we deal with our desires? We can no way we can come close to close to the these great devotees. Neither Kardam Muni's kind of he had pleased the Supreme Lord, and Saubhari Muni, he had achieved the perfection in the mystic yoga, so as to say in terms of siddhis, he had all this siddhis. So where do we stay? While we have the material desires, we sincerely need to kind of acknowledge them. We sincerely need to work on that. We have to bring it to our Lord for we have to petition the Lord that please help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So the as we don't have to be we don't have to shy away. We don't have to run away. We don't have to hide it at all. While before giving this class, I was trying to see that which other devotees has given this class, and I was listening from some other senior devotee speaking on this verse, and this says that this is a very high level. And what you are asking is also very high level, but some of the devotees, after decades of their practice, they have a hard time even following the regulative principles. So he said, let's talk about that. I want to talk about that. So he said that let's not be full of guilt. Let's kind of face the reality, because if we don't address it, we would never get the answer to it. So coming back to that, yes, we have the desires, and how to deal with those desires, I would sincerely bring it to the attention of my Lord. I again remember that verse from 10:14:8, where Lord Brahma is praying to Govinda, Lord Krishna, that whatever state of my current affairs be, whatever the state of my life may be, so in spite of my millions of efforts, I'm not able to give up the desires to enjoy the matter. So be it. I wouldn't give up my efforts to do the service to you. Because in other words, these material desires are actually the reactions of our past karmas. So either my past karmas would come, and I would have some difficult time, or I would have some nonsense desire, which is both of them are coming out of my past karmas. So now me as the witness, me as the doer, or me as the actual, the person who is going through this, I would simply tolerate them. So let's read that beautiful verse. I like to read that often again, 10:14:8. So I'll pull out that. So so I would simply kind of wouldn't really give up my practice, wouldn't really be disturbed or feel guilty. I wouldn't waste so much time on that thing, because that's not my purpose. I'm not here to, because there are so many people, they do so much more austerities. We can't believe, we can't really come close to that. Our main purpose is to connect to Krishna somehow. So this is that verse is telling us that my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him. Like I'm waiting for you to help me get rid of all this nonsense desire. All the while patiently suffering the reactions of my past deeds, his past misdeeds. So this is Brahmaji saying, we can say it for ourselves, like whatever is this happening to me, whether a bad time or whether having a nonsense desire, I will patiently I'm patiently suffering the reactions of my past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with my heart, words, and body is surely eligible for liberation. So in devotional life, Krishna is Krishna is looking for some excuse. So in spite of this onslaught of Maya, if we steadily keep clinging the process, we don't give up the process, we surely become, eligible for liberation. It become actually our rightful claim. So yes, so I would, let's, we have seen this verse many times, but let's sing it one more time. Tate nukampa susamekmano punjaneva Radhavagva purvi vidanam namaste jive tade sadaya jive tayomu tipade. So Prabhu, if I want to summarize that, I very nice, go ahead, Yogi, you want to sing that?
Kampan susamika samano bunjami vatma kritam vipakam Hirdvagva purbir vidavanamase jivetayom mukti sadayabhak.
Very nice, very nice. So just to summarize that, like my main focus is to that, in spite of my limitations, what service I'm doing to Krishna. I'm definitely not putting my energy behind running behind my mind. So that's what and I know you are just asking this question for all of us, but this is what we should be really simply tolerate that. Bring this to Krishna's attention. Krishna, please help me. This is bothering me so much. Please help me get out of this, whatever that mental situation could be, whatever that particular desire could be. But I am somehow, giving my all efforts serving you by Radhavagava Purbi. Okay, Prabhu, please tell me how do you find it and what is your reflections on that one?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Very well explained. So, as you know, Prabhuji, like about who was this King Vishwakarma? Right? King, yeah, Vishwakarma, the king. He was like before he became Rishi, he was king, right? Vishwakarma.
Vishwamitra.
Sorry, Vishwamitra. Sorry.
Yes,
sorry. So Vishwamitra was king, and then he became Muni, and then again he fell into another desire, right? And at one time he built his own Svargalok, right? To send one of the person, like Indra didn't allow that, one of the person's name I don't remember, and then he was thrown out, and then so he had so much of power to because of his meditation. He also had a desire, but then he left his desire. Again, the desire is to come. So he kept rising, he keeps falling. In Gita, Krishna says, you will only enter my abode, like if you are if you're void of any desire, right? If your mind is clean, you don't have anything in your mind, right? That's when I enter into your heart, and that's when you come back. So although we know, like, we do have the desire to go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, we may want to go back home, back to Godhead in this life, but even if we have a little tinge of desire in our heart, right? We might come back, right?
Yes, Prabhu. So I do understand your question. You are saying that, yes, Prabhuji, what you said is accepted. But
Right.
Krishna, on one hand, Krishna is saying that unless and until we become free from all desires, we don't go back to Godhead. And
Correct.
here I am not free of so many desires. How would I go back to Godhead? So, Prabhuji, see, the spiritual life goes two ways. We have many instances, right, where we try. Actually, what happens at the last moment of our life, all we need is only 1 second. We have the example of Khatwanga Maharaj, I think in the canto, end of the canto 8th or in canto 9th, that Khatwanga Maharaj is like, he was a great warrior. He was such a great warrior that he helped the demigods and they won the battle. And then they are asking Khatwanga Maharaj, what do you really want? Then Khatwanga Maharaj thought that, what blessings should I ask from these people? They themselves are mortal. So he said that, please tell me how much time I have. And then those demigods, they can know that. They tell you that, Maharaj, we are sorry, you don't have much time. You have only a moment. And he said instantly, when he comes on the earth, he gives up everything and he puts his mind to the Lord. So coming back to your question, that is not just our endeavors. Spiritual life is not just, and especially the devotees, the devotional service is nothing about us. So when we actually trying all our life, Krishna most mercifully enters into our heart at the time of our departure. In a fraction of moment, everything becomes irrelevant to us. We realize that, yes, this is what I am looking for. My dear Lord, thank you so much. So we really have to, it goes all about Krishna's mercy. Having said that, we cannot really, take anything in, and we cannot do anything and everything that in our life. But he sees our sincerity, that I'm trying day in and day out. My devotee is struggling day in and day out. Now it's my responsibility. He did his part. There is no way as long as we are in the material world, for us, the eternally conditioned people, there is no way we become free of the effects of Lord's illusory energy. Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya. Krishna's eternal and this is Krishna's energy. So we should really never aspire that I could be transcendental to all of them. I'm so much insignificant. I'm trying my best. Ultimately, I bank on my Lord's mercy. So in spite of, we don't have to worry. In spite of having all these desires, he actually would most mercifully come and deliver us. Because we tried. It is his energy. We made up every day. It's a new beginning. I failed yesterday. I failed today. It's another beginning, because I still have a few hours to go before the night. Or I failed yesterday. This is another day. I'm going to try with the same zeal, same enthusiasm. And that's what counts. Prabhu, look at Srila Prabhupada. He's a pure devotee. He was told in 1936. It took him 1965, almost 30 years, to execute on the desire and order of by his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Even after coming to USA, the experience is that he was a pure devotee, what kind of but then he was 100% sure it's my Lord's will. So we can have any and every desire. Ultimately, if I can chant, sit down and chant, that's the Lord is giving me the opportunity to execute the most cherished service. What do I really have to worry? Right? Out of all services, this is the most cherished service. Tara Madhye Nama Sankirtana. The Nam Sankirtan is the topmost of the service. So I would, and it also, but I would be least worried about these things. Let it be. It's beyond my control. I'm so tiny and so insignificant. But as long as I cling to my word, I don't give up that. What do I have to fear? Thank
Yes,
you.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely explained. I got the answer.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You're so kind and you're so humble. So thank you for having this discussion happen. So that's the essence. But I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Dhananjay Krishna Prabhu. And thank you, Prabhuji, for this nice discussion.